My name is Dr. Matthew Stephen. We're standing on the edge of Darwin Harbour. On the 19th of February 1942, Darwin Harbour, the ships in it and the people on its shores were attacked by Japanese imperial forces. It changed not just Darwin and the Northern Territory forever, but altered Australia's history. No longer could the north of Australia be forgotten and ignored. It had become the centre of Australia's war. The Northern Territory at War documentary film project sets out to explore not just these big stories about World War II, but some of the smaller histories that are less well known, the stories of its people and its places beyond Darwin. While people might know about the bombing of Darwin, very few people know about the bombing of Katherine or of Milingimbi. Very few people know about how the military and its operations during World War II affected the communities of Larimer, Elliot and Alice Springs. Few people know the stories of the African American drivers in the convoy trucks from Mount Isa. Few people know the story of Delisaville and its people and searching for Japanese airmen who had landed on the Cox Peninsula. These are just some of the stories that we hope to tell in this documentary film project, Territorians at War.
We want to commemorate the bombing while it's still in living people's memories. And to that end, this video has gathered some of those people together to talk about their experiences. We're also finding now, by research and by physically searching, we're finding the relics that are still around today that tell of that time.
Look, we all know that Katherine was bombed on the 22nd of March 1942, but of course there's a lot of history that sits behind that and what went before that. I mean, what is a very significant day in Katherine's history. Of course, the war started in 1939, in 1940, and then grew over time. Of course, that dragged Australia into this conflict.
I was born in Katherine, 6th of June, 1939, 2 years before the bombing of Katherine. We lived on the bank of the Katherine River, up on Giles Street there. Japanese planes was flying over Katherine.
My parents were peanut farmers on the riverbank of Katherine, about 13 k's out of Katherine. And Dad used to grow peanuts and stuff, and Mum was housekeeper and stuff. In about 1942, I think it was, we were told that the Japanese were around, and all of a sudden we heard planes flying over.
Katherine, you could imagine at that time, was really bustling. And one big significant part for Katherine, it was bombed on the 22nd of March 1942. But the day before that, the 21st, the Japanese flew in, took an aerial surveillance of the township.
When I think back, probably the bombing of Darwin and down as far as Katherine is probably what spurred the Defence Department on to actually do something. Other than that, I think that it was just never really thought about it. But that World War II happening and events has really boosted the progress. It really made people aware that there were places other than along the coastal areas of Australia, and that some of these other places are really worth visiting and seeing.